So you're facilitating a charrette. Charrette can easily be seen as a very loose protocol according to the participants, but the facilitator has some very specific jobs in a charrette that if you're not careful, the charrette can just get away from you. So this video just offers a few insights from a book called Meeting Goals that I wrote to try to help people really facilitate protocols well. So these are just a couple little insights about charrette. Number one, when it's the brainstorming step, which is step 3, make sure to stay focused on the question or the issue. Sometimes groups might veer a little bit and you're maybe not sure, like, what do I do in that moment if they're off task? Do I just have to like say, hey, let's stay focused? Well, you could, but another way out is you could just stop and say, hey, I think this is a good time to check in with name of presenter. That's a way for the presenter to redirect the group rather than you. Number 2, observe the charrette. Look what's happening. Look at which people are talking, which people aren't talking. Maybe there's a pattern. Maybe people new to your school haven't talked. Maybe none of the women have talked. Maybe none of the people of color haven't talked. You look for patterns and raise them, because in a charrette, there aren't particular ways of always talking, maybe going around the circle. There aren't even sentence stems in a charrette. So people can feel like this is just a y'all talk conversation, but it's not. It's something different. Third one, please make sure someone is keeping track of the ideas that are being generated, not just the presenter, but a second set of notes. You could be typing them on a Word document. You could have somebody write them on the board and someone could take a picture at the end, but it's very easy for the presenter in a charrette to lose sight of some of the current ideas because they might hear an idea they love, and before they know it, they've missed the next 2. So it's really important to have a second set of notes. Ask questions along the way. Instead of thinking about your role as generating a lot of ideas, there are participants to do that. Maybe you push a little bit. For instance, it's noted here, maybe it's questions like, oh, that's interesting. So how could that happen? Oh, well, if we did that, we notice, then who might be involved? How would that work? So try to flesh out a few of those ideas. And finally, summarizing. Oh my goodness, it's so powerful in a conversation for someone to stop and just say, okay, so sorry to interrupt. So it sounds like we had this idea, this one, and then there was a variation of that one. What else? Or we had this idea, and we had this other variation. Let's check in now with the name of our presenter. So those are really key pieces in a charrette. And the last thing is this I wanted to mention is if at any point you feel like, man, it's a dominating show. It's like the Joe and Sherry show, and Joe and Sherry are loving the charrette and nobody else is involved. You could do a quick little timeout in your head and just say, why don't we go around right now and make sure we've heard from everybody? Or my preferred move, check in. Do a quick check-in. And then after that check-in, it's like, now there's a cleansing moment. And as soon as the check-in is over, you can say, now let's start right here. And let's make sure everybody has this next step, because maybe we've been redirected from the presenter, or maybe the presenter wanted just some more. And that's a way to not point out that people have been dominating, but to just keep on moving. So you can do a charrette. I know you can facilitate it well, but make sure that you are prepared with some of these ideas that aren't necessarily so clear in the facilitation notes.